Hello friends, welcome to Extreme DX. I'm your host Bruce. Today on Extreme DX we're going to look at another Radio Shack attempt to copy GE. In this case the GE/RCA Super Radio 3. And they called it the Optimus 12-603. Now in an earlier video I analyzed how Radio Shack tried to clone or copy the Super Radio original and Super Radios 2 with their model 12-650. For every good idea that GE had, Radio Shack had an answer, and this was their answer to the Super Radio 3 that GE came out with and RCA eventually took over. Now, if you look at the outside of the radios, you're going to see a couple of similarities. They're similar in size and shape and weight, but if you look closely, the on-off is on the right side of the GE and on the left side of the Radio Shack. If you also look at the arrangement of the controls, you'll see that GE had 3 mounted vertically, and then Radio Shack put the 3 horizontally. Having the controls arranged differently is the best indication from the outside that Radio Shack's PC board is different than that inside the GE, since all these controls are mounted on the PC board. If you pick up one of these things off of eBay and want to use it, there is something that will confuse you. Unlike the Super Radio 3, which has automatic switching, the 12-603 has an AC-DC switch on the back. It was initially set to the AC position, which prevented me from using the radio. So I think this was done to minimize AC line noise, but when you switch it to the DC position, the radio works with the batteries. This is a front view of the Super Radio 3 main board. And this is a view of the 12-603 main board. As you can see, pretty different. Here's the rear view of the 12-603 main board. Now I try really hard not to get caught up in the whole more stuff is better conclusion when it comes to electronics. When I was young, it led me to buy a very poor transistor radio with more transistors, most of which did nothing. But one thing I notice here is that there's only 2 IF cans for the AM as opposed to 4 in the GE. Therefore, without the extra IF cans, the selectivity of this radio is not going to be as good on AM. It's also based on a different radio on a chip than the SR3. It is a Sanyo LA1260, which is a very fine radio on a chip, but it is different than the Super Radio 3. This is the block diagram of the LA1260. Unlike the chip inside the Super Radio 3, this one doesn't incorporate an audio amplifier. They use a SIP package for the FM front end. I was able to identify it as an LA1186. You can see the block diagram here. As you can see, between pins 4 and 7, it incorporates an internal varactor diode. The radio also uses a separate audio amplifier chip, the KA2201. Here are the alignment points for the 12-603. Like the Super Radio 3, the 12-603 has its dial scale printed on the inside of the front case. So I scanned it, negative imaged it, and made this printout for you. Make sure to get the scale right if you use it. Just put it over the black plastic when you got it the right size. Now we'll begin the disassembly instructions. Remove the front and side knobs, including the slide switches. Turn the radio over and remove the 6 long chassis screws at the indicated locations, and there's a short one in the battery compartment. You do not have to remove the screws holding the handle. Radio Shack is notorious for needing dexterity and having little tricks to opening. The case separates at the bottom, but it's necessary to flex the earphone jack part of the case outward a little to clear the earphone jack. After that, the two halves can be manipulated, but be sure to minimize stress on the on-off switch. It's like the Super Radio 2 and original Super Radio in that regard. Unsolder the 2 wires from the speaker. Be sure to make note of the positions and the colors. Once you've done that, the cabinet front is loose and you can set it aside. Next, we're going to remove the chassis from the cabinet back. There are 6 screws holding the chassis to the cabinet back. I'm going to show you the detail views one at a time. I'll give you 5 seconds on each so you can see where they are. Unplug 2 connectors from the board. Unsolder these 2 wires from the board. The chassis is now loose, but there's still connections to the cabinet back. Turn the chassis over. Unscrew the 2 screws holding the small AC-DC power switch. There's a little dust cover on the switch. Remove it and set aside with the screws. Don't forget it when reassembling. Unscrew the 2 screws holding the on-off switch circuit board. If you notice, Radio Shack learned something from GE. They put some retaining posts on the on-off switch knob. Good for them. The power entry is pretty well thought out in order to be safe, because the power cord hole is the size of the power cord and the cord goes directly to press-fit wire nuts. It won't be possible to remove the power entry from the cabinet back unless you break the wire nuts. I elected not to bother with it. The cabinet back is now loose and you can set it aside. Next, we're going to work on removing the board from the chassis. First, remove the screws in the 4 indicated locations. Next, to avoid having to restring the dial, secure the tuning pulley with duct tape, then carefully pry the tuning pulley off the shaft. Remove 2 screws underneath the ferrite antenna that hold the board to the chassis. The board is now loose from the chassis, but you've got to carefully maneuver it out of the chassis. Go slow, pay attention to what you're doing, and it will come out without any force. Be careful not to snag the wires where the AM antenna connects to the board. Now we're going to get into modifications to make this a much better radio. The single most important modification you can do to any AM radio is to put in a better ferrite bar. It should be as big as the case will allow. The 12-603 comes stock with a 120 millimeter ferrite rod antenna instead of the 200 millimeter that was in the GE. The 12-603 uses a cavity behind the dial scale to hold the ferrite rod, and the cavity is large enough for a 200 millimeter ferrite bar. The single biggest improvement you can make for FM is to substitute a 150 kilohertz ceramic filter, and you can see it below left of the LA 1260. The radio comes stock with a 280 kilohertz ceramic filter, and putting in one just wide enough for FM at 150 kilohertz improves both sensitivity and selectivity because you're dealing with the gain bandwidth product. You lower the bandwidth, you increase the gain, and you increase the selectivity. It's a win-win for both. What's good for FM is also good for AM. If you look at the indicated location, you can see that you can replace C15 with a narrower ceramic filter. I used one of the excellent three-stage filters from an old wireless keyboard and mouse. I can't take credit for this next modification. The AM oscillator coil is shunted by a 2.2K resistor R118, which is not needed. In fact, it totally ruins the Q of the oscillator circuit. Low Q also ruins the stability of the oscillator. The 12-650 uses an oscillator level control circuit, so this application example does not use a resistor and it can be disconnected. This improvement comes from a contributor named Peter. Peter also recommends changing R121 from 100 ohms to 22 ohms. Peter also recommends adding a tuning LED to IC pin number 7 of the LA1260. He doesn't give a lot of details about his procedure to do it, so I'll tell you how I did it. First, I punched a hole in the dial scale on the right-hand side for the LED. I used a heat punch, a soldering iron tip, to put a hole near where the dial scale ends, being very careful to keep it nice and neat and clean. And I also needed a second hole to get from the cavity to the PC board. This shows a detail of the two connection points that I used. You can see that the purple wire is going to pin 7 on the IC, and the red is the other connection point. And this shows the connection in the cavity to the LED. You can see I put in the 1K ohm dropping resistor. The last of Peter's suggestion is to change the AGC delay capacitor C111 from 22 microfarad to 10 microfarad. And that definitely helps the performance of the radio and tuning. And there you have it, my technical information about the 12-603 radio. With these modifications done, it's about as good as a GE Super Radio 3. So it's definitely something you want to look into. You can probably pick up one of these for pretty cheap on eBay. If you like these videos, please subscribe and click on the like button, and I will see you later.